Let's talk about one of the most infamous DayZ exploits, the gamma slider. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of what is gamma and gamma correction because I can't science. And the technical details are not what's important. The discussion is whether or not using the gamma slider is cheating. I'm not going to ask whether or not this is an exploit, because this is not up for discussion. It is an exploit. Also, bear in mind that as I recorded this, I was changing my gamma slider up and down. Now, you may say to yourself, well, of course, if you just gamma in a game, it's not going to show in a video because science is... I don't know how technology works, all right? This doesn't exactly come up in conversation very often. So, I will just go ahead and show you some screenshots to illustrate some of the huge differences that it can cause. And then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of is it cheating, is it exploiting, blah, blah, blah. If you leave your gamma slider at the position it is in when you play during the day, this is what night looks like. However, by adjusting that gamma slider all the way up, this is what the exact same time and point looks like. And obviously, this is more advantageous because you can see and make out more things. I'll have other examples later, but that will kick things off just nicely, I think. So, now that you've seen the huge difference between the two options, we can talk about why this is not cheating, but it is an exploit. But it doesn't make you a bad person because you do it, and I'm not shitting on you as a human being if you choose to do it. I do it, and I would wager most other people do it, because if you do not do it, you are, as you clearly saw, putting yourself at a massive tactical disadvantage. Because being able to see is important. Why is it not cheating? It's not cheating because, one, everybody can do it, and two, it is within the parameters of the game settings to do this. The game allows for it. By design, the slider is there. The meanings of what that design is supposed to allow, we'll get into in a moment, but the game allows for you, by its design, by its admission, by its inclusion, it allows for you to alter the gamma setting. There are no restrictions on the gamma slider apart from how high or low you can set it. And yes, I went to an old-ass public server to get this footage. I don't play public servers. And fuck people who server hop. Oh, server hopping. That's an excellent example. Let's shimmy right into that. Server hopping isn't cheating, but it is an exploit in the game. The game allows for you to do it, however, it is not the design of the game to allow you to take one survivor, go to an empty server, gear up all the way without any resistance, and then take that character and go to a full server to use all of that gear for nefarious purposes. It's an exploit. It's not cheating. If you do it, you're not a cheater. You're just a bad human being. you're just using an exploit in the game. Another reason I only do private shard servers. No server hoppers. But there's another big reason why I can call it an exploit. That makes me, well, objectively correct. And I like being objectively correct. Which is why I do it. Often. Ah, how haughty. Well, fuck me in the asshole sideways. That is the actual definition of the word exploit. So whenever somebody does something in a game like that, and you tell them it's an exploit, and they're like, no, well, there you go. But, let's take a closer look at it. Exploit, a software tool designed to take advantage of a flaw in a computer system, typically for malicious purposes such as installing malware. Now, you have a software tool, the gamma slider, designed to take advantage of a flaw in the computer system, which is the ability of the gamma setting within DayZ's current engine and the way that the graphics are set up in DayZ. That's the flaw in the computer system. thus the new engine they're about to put in, thus hopefully this won't be a problem for longer. Typically for malicious purposes, such as installing malware. Instead of malicious purposes, it's tactical advantage over other players. Not malicious, but there you go. And again, I'll emphasize this because I will get people in the comments. Believe me, I will get people in the comments who will say that I am calling people who do this cheaters and bad people. No. All right? No. You're not a bad person if you do this. You're basically expected to do this, because if you don't, you're putting yourself at a real disadvantage against other players. Is it as immersive? No, but you know what else isn't immersive? Losing all your gear and respawning at the coast, right? It kind of sucks the immersion out of it. So a lot of people obviously opt for having the ability to see everything over immersion. And DayZ isn't what I'd call the most immersive game right now anyway, so of course that's all subjective. And I'm certain that people will still call this cheating. They will still call it not an exploit, but flat out cheating. And again, as I said before, I don't think that cheating would entail changing a setting in a game. Now, we could go into a whole discussion about, does changing an INI setting cheating? Is doing this cheating? And I would say no. I wouldn't say it's no in every single circumstance, perhaps. I don't know, but that would probably be its own video's worth of time to look in whether or not that's cheating or not. There are a lot of things you could do in this game that are considered frowned upon by the community. For instance, server hopping is frowned upon by the community in general, at least going by the reception it gets on the DayZ forums. Server hopping is a no-no. It's an exploit that's in the game that is a no-no. You can do it, but if you do it, you're kind of a bitch. All right, that's the general consensus. I'm not necessarily saying I do or do not disagree with that, because ambiguity is delightful. One of the differences, though, between server hopping and the Gamma exploit is that when you join a server, you know whether or not there will be server hopping. That's why I only play on private shared servers, because I know that nobody that I see gained their loot through questionable means. They found it on the ground, or they just straight up murdered someone for it. They got it legitimately, quote-unquote legitimately. But when I go into a server and it's nighttime, I can reasonably assume, or I should at least reasonably assume, that such an easy setting to change, like the Gamma setting, is going to be done by pretty much everybody. I should, from a tactical and a survivor-minded perspective, always consider and always treat every other player like they're going to use this easy-to-access advantage. And I'm probably going to make a video about it later, about the third person in this game. Third person isn't cheating at all. It's also not an exploit at all. I don't even know how I feel about it. Is third person an exploit? No. Oh, fuck. I don't even know. You see, we get into the gray areas here. And gray areas is a good term to use since we're talking about Gamma settings. See what I did there? Now, the introduction of the Infusion engine into nighttime is hopefully supposed to alleviate this exploit, and I would welcome that immensely. I like the idea of everybody stumbling around in the dark with a much more limited ability to see. I've noticed in games like King of the Hill and stuff like that. Sorry, King of the Kill. Oh, fuck. That H1Z1 Battle Royale, that stupid-ass King of the Kill. When it's very foggy and sight lines are reduced, I think it makes the game better. And from a DayZ perspective, when I hope that it's more than just a KOS simulator and there's actually survival and reasons to cooperate with other people, I think that, especially at nighttime, running into other players, having it be much more difficult for you to tell who's a friend, who's a foe, what this other player has on them. When you make it more difficult for you to assess their threat level instantly, I think that will overall make the game more interesting and better. The Gamma slider removes what I think should be a good aspect of nighttime. During the night, you are more wary because we are obviously reliant on our eyes, especially when we play a video game. So having that primary sense reduced and inhibited in that kind of way will obviously make us more wary and cautious, and, as I said, would be a benefit to this game. I have been in servers pitch black nighttime, and I have been sniped at from so far away I can't hear the gunshots. And I think that's very, very strange in a game where there's no night vision capability apart from, of course, the gamma setting. Again, hopefully with Infusion that will not be an issue, and I cannot wait for the day. I am enthusiastic, about 0.60, blah, blah, blah. But being able to adjust your gamma like this, I mean, look at the huge difference here. I could barely see 10, 15 feet in front of me. If someone could have been standing right in front of me, or crouched in that bush, or proned in the tall grass, or in the shrubbery, and I would not have known. But sure enough, you push your slider all the way up, and it's like playing at daytime, just in black and white. Behind this staircase is an excellent example. There could have been something there, but with a gamma setting, I know if there's something there. There's a lot of places where people could be, where items could be, where zombies could be lurking, and by turning on your gamma setting, again, you're getting that objective advantage, being able to see more. It takes away the mystery and the excitement and the wariness that should come with night operation. But there is one similarity, a large similarity that ties both server hopping and this exploit together. There are differences, of course, but there is this one similarity. And that similarity is that these are both in-game options that you can use. These are both in-game features that are made that way for you to access. However, just like public shard servers are not intended for you to abuse the ability to take a character and move it from server to server, in the same way, the gamma setting was not made with the intention to give people night vision at night time. Now, this is, when it's done, going to be a survival game, because calling it a survival game right now is kind of stretching it. But this is going to be a survival game, and it does have survival in its mind. Bohemia Interactive makes this game with their eyes on the prize, with the finished product in mind. So, this is a survival game as it's being designed. It's pretty reasonable to believe that Bohemia Interactive did not give every player in this game, in what's supposed to be a hardcore, semi-realistic survival simulation game, free night vision. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense from a gameplay perspective. It doesn't make sense from a design perspective. It doesn't make any sense. So it's pretty safe to assume that it was not the design and the intention of having a gamma slider to give you that night vision, because it would just go against what this game is supposed to be. And the similarity that this has with third person is that you use it when you're on a server that has it enabled, because you know, oh, by the way, yeah, that zombie totally hits me with an arm's length. But you have to assume that other people are doing it, right? With third person, you assume that everybody else is using third person, just like you assume that at nighttime, everybody else has their gamma sliders turned all the way up so they can have night vision. So you do it too. It puts you on an even playing field. And just like with server hopping, you know it can't be done on a private shard server, so you also know that on a first-person server, there won't be any third person. So that's why I think that the gamma setting is not cheating, but it is an exploit. But not one that you need to be too worried about morally for using.
Oh man, hunting backpacks. Where do they even spawn now?
Deer stands. And very, very rarely in the little bitty wood sheds that you can kind of see through, where gloves and gas masks sometimes spawn. They can rarely spawn in there. I just randomly died.
Really?
I just died. Yeah, I just randomly died. I just keeled over dead in the police station here. So,
How does one just randomly die?
I don't know. You just do. Cardiac arrest.